From pepper mills to pedal power, the early days of Peugeot. Peugeot. It's a name synonymous with stylish cars, but did you know their story began long before the first Model T rolled off the line? Way back in 1810, the Peugeot family were already hard at work. They weren't building cars, though. They were making tools, and not just any tools. Peugeot made some of the best darn pepper mills you could buy. Seriously, ask your grandma, she might have one. But the Peugeots weren't ones to rest on their laurels. They branched out, making everything from coffee grinders to crinolines. Yes, crinolines, those things that made ladies' skirts stick out like a peacock's chest. Then, in the 1880s, along came the bicycle. The Peugeots saw an opportunity and jumped on it, 2 wheels first. They started cranking out bikes with the same quality and craftsmanship they put into their pepper mills. And let me tell you, those Peugeot bikes were no slouches. They were fast, they were reliable, and they looked pretty darn good too. So there you have it, from pepper mills to pedal power. That's how the Peugeot story began. Little did they know this was just the start of a wild ride. The late 19th century was a time of incredible change and innovation. Electricity was the new hotness, and the internal combustion engine was starting to make some noise, literally. The Peugeot family, never ones to miss an opportunity, figured, hey, if we can build bikes, why not cars? And so in 1889, they took the plunge. They teamed up with a fella named Leon Serpollet, a bit of a steam engine whiz. And together they unveiled their first creation at the 1889 World's Fair in Paris. Now, this wasn't some sleek Ferrari or a muscular Mustang. This was the Peugeot Type 1, a 3-wheeled contraption powered by, you guessed it, steam. It wasn't exactly a looker, but hey, it moved. However, Armand Peugeot, the visionary of the family, wasn't convinced about steam. He saw the potential of the internal combustion engine, the petrol-powered future. So he went his own way, teaming up with another pioneer, Gottlieb Daimler, to build their first gasoline-powered car. And that, my friends, is how the Peugeot Type 2, their first proper petrol-powered car, was born. It was basic, it was a bit rough around the edges, but it was a start. And from that moment on, there was no looking back. The Peugeot Lion had tasted gasoline, and it was ready to roar. Now, the early days of the automobile industry were a bit of a free-for-all. Everyone and their mechanic was having a go at building cars. But Peugeot, they were different. They had this knack for innovation, for pushing the boundaries of what a car could be. Take the Type 4, for example. This little runabout, launched in 1892, was a game changer. Why? Because it was the first Peugeot to feature a steering wheel. Can you imagine driving without one today? Then came the Bébé, a tiny 2-seater, designed by a certain Ettore Bugatti. Yes, that Bugatti. It was small, it was nippy, and it captured the hearts of motorists across France. Peugeot didn't just focus on small cars, they built big, luxurious vehicles too. The Peugeot 601, launched in 1934, was a thing of beauty. It was sleek, it was powerful, and it even featured an independent front suspension, a real luxury at the time. These early Peugeots, they weren't just cars, they were statements. They told the world that Peugeot was here to stay, to innovate, and to build cars that were both stylish and technologically advanced. And you know what? They haven't stopped since. Section 4. Conquering the circuits. Peugeot's motorsport prowess. Now, any car manufacturer worth its salt has to prove itself on the track. And Peugeot, well, let's just say they know their way around a racetrack. From the early days of motor racing, Peugeot has been a force to be reckoned with. They racked up victories all over the globe, cementing their reputation for building cars that were both fast and reliable. One of their most successful models was the 404. This plucky little saloon, with its distinctive Pininfarina styling, dominated rallies in the 1960s. It conquered the grueling East African Safari Rally, proving it could handle anything you threw at it. Then there was the 504, another rally legend. It won the Safari Rally 3 times, the Moroccan Rally 5 times, and even conquered the brutal Bandama Rally in Ivory Coast. This thing was unstoppable. But Peugeot's motorsport success wasn't limited to rallies. They conquered the world of sports car racing too. The Peugeot 205 Turbo 16, a Group B rally monster, was a legend in the making. It won the World Rally Championship in 1985 and 1986. Driven by legends like Ari Vatanen and Timo Salonen. And who can forget the 905 and the 908? These Le Mans prototypes were technological marvels, battling it out with the likes of Porsche and Audi at the world's most famous endurance race. The 905 won Le Mans in 1992 and 1993, while the 908 took the checkered flag in 2009. Peugeot's motorsport heritage is a testament to their engineering prowess and their relentless pursuit of performance. They've pushed the limits of what's possible on the track, and those lessons learned have filtered down to their road cars. Section 5, a hot hatch icon, the Peugeot 205 GTI. Now, if you want to talk about iconic Peugeots, you can't leave out the 205 GTI. This little pocket rocket, launched in 1984, took the world by storm. It was the car that defined the hot hatch, a small car with a big heart and even bigger attitude. The 205 GTI was a joy to drive. It was nimble, it was responsive, and it had this playful character that put a smile on your face every time you got behind the wheel. It was powered by a rev-happy 1.6-litre engine, later upgraded to a 1.9 that loved to be pushed hard. But it wasn't just about straight-line speed. The 205 GTI handled like a dream. It stuck to the road like glue thanks to its sharp steering and well-sorted suspension. You could throw it into corners with confidence, knowing that it would always come out the other side, pointing in the right direction. The 205 GTI wasn't just a hit with petrolheads, it was a cultural phenomenon. It was the car to be seen in, the one that everyone wanted to own. It was featured in countless movies, TV shows and magazines. It was the car that made Peugeot cool again. The 205 GTI's legacy lives on today. It's considered one of the greatest hot hatches of all time, a true icon of the 1980s, and it paved the way for a whole generation of sporty Peugeots that followed.